We'll move on to a movie that I did not see and you saw to give us a review for The House of Gucci, starring Lady Gaga and Adam Driver as, oh man, you're killing
Patricia Reggiani and Mauricio Gucci.
With Jared Leto as Paulo Gucci, Al Pacino as Aldo Gucci, Jeremy Irons as Rodolfo Gucci, and Salma Hayek as Pina. In this film, Ridley Scott, I believe.
Ridley Scott.
Yeah,
Ridley Scott.
We'll talk more about Ridley later.
Yeah.
Based on actual events of the rise and downfall of the Gucci
downfall
name.
and rise of Gucci more than it is the rise. Yeah.
Usually you have to be up to fall.
Well, they were already up. So Patricia meets Mauricio early on in the movie, and
this wasn't Romeo and Juliet?
It kind of was.
Catholic
the families weren't trying to kill each other, but so they meet each other, and then Patricia is like, I need to make Gucci good again. Like not good again, but I need to keep it up with where it is. Like it was staying in the safe lane. And so she's trying to take over. Are you
doing like a spoiler free, or what are we doing here? I didn't see it, so you're not going to spoil it.
It's not going to spoil anything. The movie itself is kind of like a spoiler because the whole thing is the thing I'll say about it is like, if you know anything about this, someone dies. Well, okay. So
I don't need to know.
I'll give the spoiler free. So it's a really good adaptation of like these fashion things. If you watch like the Versace docu-series, and if you watch any of these fashion things, it's like insane. I'll talk about one of in my recommendations too, is the fashion industry is insane, and people are always trying to take over, do different things, whatever. And this is a revenge story of sorts that ends up, the thing that, and I saw this with Janie, and we both walked away like, holy cow, this movie was like that perfect thing of like, it was a hot mess and it was so over the top, but that's kind of fashion. And that's the, what you want from it. And the reviews were a little bit like, kind of in the Ghostbusters, everyone's like, oh, I don't know about this. It's like, well, the idea of like fashion is to be over the top. Like Jared Leto's character as Paolo Gucci is so over the top. It's so weird. He does not look like Jared Leto. He has prosthetics. He's fat. He's balding. He's a mess. Al Pacino has one really good scene where he flips out, which is hilarious because you need to have Al Pacino. Jeremy Irons is just like old and weird. And then Salma Hayek is this, palm tarot reader for Patricia. So the whole movie is essentially this envelope of Patricia trying to take over. She can't. Mauricio realizes that she's trying to do more than, he wants her to do. He, tries to get her out of her life, and then she enacts revenge. So that's the spoiler-free review. The spoiler is that Lady Gaga hires, spoiler. Lady Gaga hires Pina's group of people, these two guys, these, what are bounty hunters, to kill Mauricio because she's mad. She wants her family back. Here's Adam Driver.
Are they in a relationship?
They were married. They got married. Okay. Yeah.
But help me understand, who was the actual Gucci?
Al Pacino and Jeremy Irons are the head of the Gucci at the time.
Okay, but which
and
one
then
of
Jeremy
those
Irons
two?
dies. So Jeremy Irons dies, but he cuts Mauricio out of it for a little while because he's like, "Oh, you can't marry this like common person, Patricia."
So, who is the Gucci? Like the actual Gucci? Kylo Ren.
Well, they're the
Lady
head
Gaga?
of Gucci right now. In the 70s.
I mean of those two. Who's the actual?
It's 50-50 between them
as
brothers.
One's the natural. Oh, holy shit!
Oh,
man.
Al Pacino and Jeremy Irons are brothers.
Yeah, I know that. I'm saying of Lady Gaga and Adam and.
Adam Driver is Mauricio Gucci.
He's okay.
And then,
So he's the
yeah.
actual Gucci.
So
Kylo
like
Ren.
the family storyline, this is based off a book. So Rodolfo Gucci is Jeremy Irons, and he's the father of Mauricio Gucci. And then Al Pacino is Aldo Gucci. He's the father of Paolo Gucci. Aldo and Rodolfo are the head of Gucci at the time this movie starts. Jared Leto is Paolo Gucci, son of Aldo Gucci, but he's kind of just a sloppy mess. He doesn't really know what he wants. He's trying to put pastels with browns. It doesn't work. Mauricio doesn't really care about Gucci that much. And he's like, well, I just want to marry Patricia because, you know, it's this like cute girl. She's whatever. And, you know, has a good attitude. Basically, that's kind of it. And then Patricia kind of is like, well, you're, you know, she knows he's a Gucci, you know, all this stuff. So she's trying to infiltrate back into this. She catches Aldo. They're invited to Aldo Gucci's birthday party. She woos him and like, oh, we should be a part of this. So she is like, oh, I need to help Gucci because you guys are too much in like what we're just normally doing. I need to take over. It's like kind of a mess. And
sounds like a mess.
It is a mess. It is totally a mess.
You can put your hands down if you want.
Well, I'm formulating the thing. So anyhow, once Patricia realizes it's a mess, she's trying to infiltrate the Gucci like storyline, like the whole thing. But Mauricio now is realizing like, oh, I could take over this company and it would be not that bad. So he gets this corporation, Invesco, to take over, which took over Tiffany's, the jewelry company, to buy out Aldo after Rodolfo dies.
Let me stop you there.
Yes.
How are their performances? Because you're wading too deep into the story, and I'm
sorry. Like, yeah, I'm
confused,
just giving the story.
And
it's fine. It's kind of what's funny is the storyline in the movie is not confusing, but when you talk it out, it is confusing.
Well, I think
everyone's
the
awesome.
problem's the names.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Which is to say, I mean, it is what it is, right? But,
they're very Italian.
Yeah.
The performances are amazing. I would say actually like Jared Leto's character probably stands out the most because he's so ridiculous. And like Jared Leto has this like super high pitched voice and just, it's insane. Lady Gaga 100% is nominated for an Academy Award. The previews for the movie kind of do her a disservice where like the accent sounds weird, but then when you're actually watching the movie, the accent's fine. Because everyone kind of has this same like.
Yeah, that's what my thing when we did the trailer.
Yeah, right.
She sounded Russian.
No, it doesn't even sound like that. It is very like subdued. She gets the reason why she sounds like she's in all the preview stuff. She's so pissed off because she's just trying to like end this whole thing. I mean, Adam Driver's Mauricio is very funny just because he's this kind of goofy guy. Al Pacino is really good. Is like this. He's subdued until he isn't, and then he blows up, and that's Al Pacino in every movie, which is fine. Jeremy Irons is only in it for like a little bit, and it's Jeremy Irons, so he's pretty solid. I would also say it's probably Jared Leto and then Selma Hayek, who's Pina, this consultant for whatever reason. It's because of this phone call of like the tarot card thing with Lady Gaga. So the whole thing is just so. I will say this movie is insane. It's absolutely crazy, but it kind of encapsulates the idea of this whole Gucci and fashion industry thing. So Patricia ends up getting Pina and her crew to assassinate Mauricio. And then she and the crew all go to jail for a very long time. But Tom Ford, who is also a very famous fashion designer, was put in charge.
Jay-Z wrote a song about him.
Yeah, Tom Ford was put in charge by Mauricio earlier in the midway before all this happens, and then he and Mauricio's friend take over Gucci, throw Mauricio out, and then because of all this, which is essentially what Patricio was trying to do, makes Gucci become a $60 billion corporation. So all these things that Patricio was trying to do, Mauricio had the ideas of because of her, divorces her so he can have the reins. But then his friend throws him out of it, buys him out of this, and it's insane. It's an insane movie. If you like the fashion world, it's great on that. If you want to just see like craziness evolve around you, it's also a lot of fun. The performances are really good. Like the movie does it's I think it's probably 2.5 hours. It felt quick to me. I don't know, it felt quick. It's probably 2.5 hours. The performances just keep carrying you along because Lady Gaga is so good. That's the thing too, where it's just like, 10 years ago, you had no idea Lady Gaga was going to be like this amazing actress. And then she's very, very good. And I'm not saying that's just because I like Lady Gaga, as a musician, but she's just a really good actress. And then Adam Driver, is very good. And everybody else kind of like patches this all together to this crazy storyline that is like this based off this book. It's a wild, wild movie. It's my second favorite movie of the year. To Ghostbusters. This is the thing. The thing about this movie is it's hard for me to talk about it without it like going exactly like I said, where you're piecing everything together, because the movie is so kind of crazy to get you to where you want to go, but you have to enjoy the subtleties of like all the weird performances until it's like, yeah, this is the thing. It's like Lady Gaga and Adam Driver are awesome, and then you see all the side characters, and then you get the actual ending. So
yeah, I kind of like, to me, it looks almost, just looking at the trailers, not having seen it, but I feel like the elevator pitch is like, well, it's Goodfellas with clothes.
Yeah. This is the thing I'll say about it is I bet Adam Driver and Lady Gaga and maybe Jared Leto are nominated for Academy Awards. The movie's not going to get nominated for Best Picture.
It might. They nominate everything these days, and it's kind of a weak year. Let's be real.
Maybe. There's still movies to go, I guess, but it's one of those things where it's just like, it's not doing hot critically. It's a 61. Yeah, it's a 61, but it's
85 audience for what it's worth.
It's like, not to sound like, it's just super intense. Like, it's so weirdly fashion too. Like, you have to kind of be into fashion to kind of enjoy it too. That'd be the other thing. The book is very fashion based from what I've understood. And so they're taking that and making it into a movie seemingly for everyone, but you're still dealing with fashion. So, but I would recommend it. I would totally recommend. I would recommend it for anyone just because of the performances. And then if you like fashion, it's not like the Ghostbusters thing where you're like love, but it's still very good.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. House of Gucci, Greg's review. And if you understood what was happening, contact us and you can.
Good, yeah, because you have to see it. It's a lot of movie. It's a lot of movie.
Try to ascertain what was going on there.
Lady Gaga wants to kill Mauricio because she's married to him and she wants to take over Gucci. That's it. That's all you need to know.
Let's move on.